All right, am I live? I'm live. Check that out. We could have probably moved this over, right? Is this in the way? Is this in the way? Let me just this here. If I close this, do I go off live? No. Okay. So I'm live. All right, check this out, everybody. Check this out. Hit those things, champion. Lo Sang, welcome. You guys, what are you guys doing? This is our first live. This is Merlin and Maeve's first live, and I'm a little too close to the camera, right? I'm Leonard O'Neill. You guys probably might know me already from, you guys might be following me. If not, hit those hearts and follow us. Okay, this is my wife and I, Brooke's company. And there you go. Brooke's giving me some love right there. Thank you, baby. Right? See, my camera's down so you guys don't see that. Whoop, whoop, right? So, okay, welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our first live on here. I've gone live on my TikTok. I go live there all the time teaching spirituality. You guys can take a look at that. Some of you may know. I don't know if you guys know who I am. If you don't, that's okay. My name is Leonard O'Neill, right? And you'll see that I'm also in the crowd. My wife is manning my profile as well as her own. And we're here talking about our business, Merlin and Maeve. You can see the logo down here on the screen, right here below my finger, Merlin and Maeve. Click on that, like us, and follow us, people. Hit those hearts for us. Please smash those hearts. We have, if you look on the screen, other way, if you look on the screen right over here, right, everything's flipped around backwards from where I'm at. We actually have a Defense Against the Dark Arts class that will be coming up that we're going to be teaching. It is a Zoom class. So if you are not in New South Wales, Australia, because that is where we are, you don't have to worry about that. You can attend it from anywhere, right? Bean Soup, welcome. I'm seeing some people that I recognize. Welcome to our first live, right? Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't it? That's Merlin and Maeve. Do you see that little Merlin sitting there with his little staff and Maeve in her little toils of trouble, right? Sorcerer and sorceress. Brooke made that. She sat down. We have those little meerkats. Not a joke. We do. We have those little meerkats, and they're actually about this tall. They're pretty big. They're about almost a foot tall. They're pretty cool. And so we actually have those. We have a couple more too, right? So we got the Merlin and Maeve because of that, and so she took them and put them and set them down on that, and then put some stuff there. It looks like they're right, like around a little campfire, right? Like they're going to be casting some spells out in the woods or something. I love it. So yeah, she put that together, and I giggled. I was like, she was like, "Is that stupid?" And I'm like, "Hell no, I love it." She goes, "Oh, I kind of like it too." So she put that together for our ad for the Defense Against the Dark Arts. So smash those hearts, champions. I'm looking on the camera thinking that I can see, you guys can see my finger. Smash those hearts, champions, right? There's big Wabbit Hole. You're welcome. Welcome to all of you guys that are actually following us, right? That you guys are popping in because we told you, follow us on Merlin and Maeve, right? So this is going to be a Zoom class, right? So you guys can see here on that. We also put a meme up all over all of our platforms, right? So yeah, I know she did a great job. She did a great job. She put all that together while we were eating dinner yesterday. No joke, no word of a lie. We're eating dinner and she's got that and she's typing all that stuff in there. So it's going to be a Zoom class, right? So you guys can see wherever you are in the world, you can probably figure out what time zone you're in. We have Pacific and East Coast North America time zones there for you so that you guys will know when the class is going to be. And then we have UK time, New Zealand time, Australia time, and GMT, right? Greenwich Mean. So you can figure out pretty much wherever you are on the planet by those times. If you guys are interested in the Defense Against the Dark Arts, it will be, you can see there, 9 a.m. our time to 1 p.m. So that is, what is that, 4 hours, right? 10, 11, 12, 1, 4 hours for 2 days. So it's going to be 8-hour total course, right? And you guys can see that the price point, I don't even know, I don't remember what we put up there. Did we put the price in there? Yeah, 111 Australian dollars. Right. So, hi guys, please follow, like, and share. Yes, please follow, like, and share. Merlin and Maeve, that's of course there. Here's of course our logo, right? That's actually our company logo that we put together that we made. So we own that as well. And you guys might want to, you guys can, but right here is the, right? You guys, and I had a link and I didn't put it in here. I had a link and I did it on the, in the class and I forgot to grab it for here, but we had the URL for that. But if you guys are watching us, you clicked on our page anyway. So smash those hearts. Thank you. Who's doing that? Bean Soup. Thank you very much for that. Right. I have the camera kind of tilted, so when those things come on there, it's a little off screen. It should be. I should have my head down further, but then you'll see my bald head. Right. So, but then again, I usually have it shaved anyway, so I'm usually pretty much bald. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for coming in here. We're just trying to, we're trying to do what we need to do. Right. You got to jump through the hoops when you go live the first time. They want you to stay live for like 30 minutes. Right. So what will we be covering? There you go. That's a good question. We're not exactly sure of the order yet. We're putting together the curriculum, but we will be including a lot of stuff. We're going to be explaining, everything that has to do with. I talk about it sometimes on my lives. You've been in my lives, right? Talk about negative energy, whether it's negative energy that you go out into the world and get caught with because you're just standing on line at a bank or at a grocery store or sitting in. There's Brooke. She's coming in.
My favorite part. Protecting yourself as an empath, embracing your empathic gifts, and all of that stuff.
Right. So she's going heading back out to the living room where she's got her phone up on my account or my phone on my account, her phone on her account on there, so she can be moderating by both of us. Sorry, train's going by. So yeah, we will be talking about like whether you pick up negative energy because that happens way more than you think. People aren't aware of that, and how to cleanse that negative energy. Whether you're dealing with an energy vampire, how to identify energy vampires, how to identify narcissists, how to identify negative energy. I remember the first time I used the term energy vampire. I didn't coin that phrase, it's a real thing. But the first time I said it was at least 30 years ago now, maybe 35 years ago. I can tell you about the incident. I remember my friend of mine owned a shop over in Benicia, California, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area in the East Bay, kind of more than North Bay. It doesn't really matter. East Bay, it's considered East Bay. And he had a shop over there, and it was called A Fairy Tale, right? And he was doing drum circles and things like that. Well, he sold everything, that you could imagine, like even those little meerkats, stuff like that. He sold all the stuff that had to do with the paraphernalia of Wicca, paganism, and all that stuff. But he also did a lot of other spiritual things, one of which was drum circles he would do on Saturday nights where they would have people come in and they would sit down and they would have rattles and drums and all this. And people would just get together and do them. And I used to do them with him. And this particular weekend, I couldn't. I was working something. I don't remember, but I wasn't there. Mo's the pity. It's too bad that I wasn't there. So apparently this couple comes in dressed like they're Egyptian, like ancient Egypt, like they're the pharaohs from ancient Egypt. And they come walking in, and they're like, oh, hello, everybody. Oh, you're one of ours, and you're one of ours. And we used to own you when you were a slave when we were back in Egypt, and this and that. How are you doing? And it kind of freaked people out, but they didn't tell them to leave. And they were milling about talking to everybody but they ended up leaving before the drum circle started. And everybody was drained of their energy. They were some of them physically ill. They felt like they had no energy and they felt icky and it was just horrible. I didn't know anything about it. The next day, I get a call from Ron, the guy who owned the shop, and someone else also called me and said, I don't know what was going on, but let me tell you about what happened at his shop. And then he called me and I said, what's going on? And he said, exactly what happened. I said, you need to call all those people and you need to have them come back down there. I'm on my way over there. And he was like, what is going on? Is it dangerous? And I'm like, well, it sounds like, Everett or Eveready. Is that how that says? Yeah, I remember you were on a live today. I didn't stay in there very long, but I didn't get to hear you talk because you were on David's live. And you guys were talking about music, and I popped in for a minute, and I didn't end up getting to stay because I had to get prepared for this. But I said hi to you, and you said hi to me when you were on the live. Yep. So yeah, okay. So I got there, and because I told him, I said energy vampire, and he said, "Is that a thing?" I said, "Yes, it is." So I went there, and most of the people came, and so some of them couldn't because they were just ill. So we were calling them. And I actually right there conducted a class and told everybody what they needed to do to get their aura back, because they take your aura. They literally take your aura off of you. Everybody has an aura that sticks off of them. And vampires are not, they never were after your blood. Everyone says, well, they evolved. They used to suck blood and then they stopped. No, they never did. They were taking from people was your life force. Okay. So your life force is what they were taking, and your life force is not your blood, right? It's actually your energy, and they do that nowadays. 35 years later, energy vampire people hear that term, they know what it is. They still don't know how to identify or how to combat it if it's happening or recover from it. So these kind of things are we're going to be covering. So we're going to be covering that. What if somebody has put a hex on you or sending negative energy to you? People do that, and they're like, psychic attacks. I was just going to get to that. Brooks in the room going psychic attacks because there's I don't know if you guys have heard when people get into a witch war where you have people who literally know how to cast spells, and they start spell casting on each other or trying to put a hex or something on someone. That actually is a thing. People are unaware of that. That's actually a thing. Or, like I said, negative energy, you could just pick up some negative energy when you're out and about. What if other things like you're starting to wake up and you're starting to become a healer, and your energy, because you're doing that, your energy goes up and the color of your aura then changes. And what happens with that is you then become a target because negative people, for some reason, sense that they need to attack you. It's sometimes not physically, but sometimes threatening physically, but most of the time in a psychic way. Negative energy that's out there, people who are downright evil, they're going to start disliking you. They're going to start hating you. So all of these things you need to become aware of. So we're going to talk about those things and talk about what you do and kind of give you an introduction into these are some of the things that you do. How can you cleanse yourself using incense, using different techniques like um, uh, the smoke, all the different smokes from the different things like the oh, I can't think of what it's called right now. I've been running around so much, my brain is off. Um, like Palo Santo and sage and the like, and then other scents. And there's certain scents that help ward off negative energy, but there's also cleansing senses, right? For that you need to know about to regain the aura or to put up boundaries and things like that, including like simple things like talk to the hand, put your hand up and talk to the hand. So, right, yeah, agreed. So if you have knowledge, you can talk about it for a long time and go down that road. So I've been teaching this and teaching people how to then charge crystals or whatever to ward that stuff off and to keep people away and without harming people, but to protect yourself, cleansing your house, those sort of things. So it's going to be a 2-day comprehensive introduction into all of that, how to identify it all, what to do about it all, and what to do about preventing it. And then if you end up in a situation where it's happening, what to do and in that situation to fix it. So that's what we're going to be doing in that course. So it's going to be like covering everything that you can imagine, and it's hard to think of all that. So we're writing it down because what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that. There's a lot of general stuff that happens a lot to everybody, and they don't notice it. You know that, right? If you're practicing at all in a spell casting way, or a Wiccan or a Druid or any of the older religions that has resisted the hierarchy telling you can't have any abilities because that's the devil and demons, and how they are, right? So literally you have to look at that, and that's what we're going to be looking at, is that kind of thing, right? So like I said, smash those hearts, everybody, and make sure you're following us. If you're not already following us, follow us, and then send this out to people, friends or whatever that you might think, get them to come in here and take a look, share it out to them, and especially if they might be interested in some of the stuff that we're going to be doing in the future. We're going to have classes for Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher. Brooke is about to be a Reiki master teacher. She's studying that right now. She's going to be a Reiki master teacher very soon, as soon as I get off my derriere and give her the attunement. She'll be doing just fine. But we're going to be doing Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and master courses as the year goes on. We actually had one scheduled for the same weekend, but we changed it because of this. We decided we needed to get this in this year before the year ended, and then do that. We're also going to have a few other courses that we're going to start doing as well, because we're going to do advanced So we're going to be doing Defense Against the Dark Arts 1 and then 2. And then we're going to be doing other things too, because we want to teach people how to what? Do other things, right? Like, wait, go ahead.
If someone does a course with us, they automatically get 5% off all future courses.
I forgot about that. She said that earlier and I forgot about that. So if you come in and you end up getting a course, let me reiterate that, right? Hold on, train going by. Okay, those things are loud. Comes right down our driveway because they go boom right past our driveway. so if you join one of our courses, then you get 5% off of all other courses that you join in the future, right? So that's a good sign. That's good stuff because we also do distance healing and Reiki, right? So we have a lot of stuff that we're offering that we don't have up on all the signs yet. So we're going to be doing Zoom calls for Reiki attunements. We're going to be doing distance healing with Reiki. We're going to be doing Zoom calls for the Defense Against the Dark Arts, like you see here on the screen. We're going to be also doing other things. I'm trying to remember everything that we were talking about doing from a distance. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing because we're going to be teaching you guys spell casting, spell writing, how to do that properly, how to set up altars, how to, all of that stuff, how to cast a circle. We're going to be doing that in person for people that are in New South Wales, Australia, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be around the world. They can't obviously fly to Australia for that. So we're going to be doing that on a Zoom call as well. Also remember that myself and my wife are both mediums. So we do reads. She does card reads and regular medium reads, and so do I. Not only do we do that, pardon me, but we do so you guys can book us for readings, whether it's a card read or a straight read. You guys can book us for Reiki, like I said. You guys can book us for life coaching, spiritual life coaching. Both of us do that. You guys know that I do it online all the time. You guys are on my lives. Ask questions. We give you answers. That's what I'm here to do, right? So, pardon me. I think I'm getting the flu bug that my wife was just getting over. I think I'm catching it, so I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here for the next week. I gotta spoon up on the vitamin C, right? So, yeah, like I said, share this out, guys, and smash those hearts so we can get as many hearts as possible up there. Because the more hearts, I can already see we already got almost 10,000. So I love you, whoever's sitting there. I'm sure that my wife's sitting there on the phone. I hope you guys are too. Get them up, because I have to stay alive. I think it's 30 minutes minimum the first time. I didn't look at everything. I remember I looked at that when I was on my. I think it's on my phone that they tell you to do that, but just in case just in case. But yeah, if you guys have questions, please type them in the chat. Even if you're brand new and you're like, what are you talking about? What is this all about? If you're here, in the audience and you're wondering what's going on, please type it in the chat, because once the live's over, you can, get a hold of us here. We're using, I think we're using PayPal currently for, so we can go to anybody, anywhere in the world. If you guys need, we can do that instead of, if you're not going to do a credit card, we don't have to mess around with that kind of stuff. PayPal keeps everything secure. So if you're in the United States, I'll send you my PayPal. If you're in over here in Australia, we'll send you the company PayPal, unless you can get the company one in the United States too. We're not sure if that works for both, but we'll figure that out either way. Right. And it is Australian dollars. So if you're in the United States or Canada, it's not going to cost you as much, because your money goes further than the Australian dollars. So depending on where you are in the world, if you're in the UK or in America or Canada, you're actually going to get a deal, because that $111 becomes like 78 American or something like that, maybe 84 American, something like that. And if it's 78 American, it ends up being about 84 Canadian or something like that. So, and then it's less than that even for euro or the sterling, by close to that. You know what I mean? You'll see whatever the conversion rate is. You'll see that on your PayPal, right? So, yeah. So, like I said, when you pop in, share this out, hit those hearts, ask questions, keep the questions coming, right? And because the more people we can get in here, the better off that we can get. Thank you, Brooke, for doing that. And whenever I see that, I don't realize it's a hand with the fingers up with a heart on it. And when I first saw it, I was like, "What is that? Is that like a hot dog or a shrimp or something?" I didn't know what it was until I looked at it. It said finger heart because it's a hand holding up a heart, like they're snapping their finger with the heart. But when I first saw it, I was like, what is that? Is that a shrimp? I don't know what that is, man. And then I could read it. It says finger heart. Love that. Okay. So, yeah. So, like I said, if you have questions, please type them in. If not, at least share this out to somebody so we can get some people in here. And I'll just keep talking because we got to go live for a while anyway, for at least 30 minutes the first time. I don't know if that was only for the phone because I didn't see anything here that said that. So we'll just, that's fine, right? And so I can just do what like I normally do. She's over here, producing me from the other room. You can just talk about spiritual things, right? Okay, here's one that I was going to talk about on my live and forgot, right? And I was just on a live. I was not on the live. I was in the audience, but one of my friends, two of my friends, one that I've known for like 12 years, was on the live. Eddie, he was on the live. I was hoping he was going to pop in here because we were trying to send it out to everybody. He was on the live talking, and one of the guys that I just made friends with was on live, and I'd known his name. I think I'm friends with him on Facebook, but not on TikTok. And he was talking about Three Eye Atlas, right? Because everybody was saying Three Eye Atlas was aliens and all this stuff, drone and first contact, and I was like, it's just an asteroid, it's just a meteor, it's just a it's just a rock flying by, right? And it's going to do those things. It's going to become a comet, and that's it, right? But then I had heard prior to that, and it was weird that I happened to tune in, I had heard that the Hopi Indians in the United States, because I used to live in the area of the Four Corners, I lived in Arizona. Sorry, I'm banging into things over here and moving stuff around behind the camera. And I had lived in Arizona for a couple years in that area of the Four Corners. I was south of that, but the Four Corners were Arizona and the like. You guys know if you're in the United States. And the Hopis have a bunch of different legends and things and prophecies. One, the Hopi rock legend, and I've talked about that several times on my podcast, and the Kachina dolls and things like that, and the Kachinas. And one of them was the blue Kachina, and I remember hearing about that. Well, when I think his name is Joshua, when he was on the show on the today earlier about an hour ago, he was talking about that and how the natives were saying that it coincides with Three Eye Atlas. So there's a spiritual portion to that. So I thought, wait a minute, I heard mention of this blue kachina and what it was supposed to represent, and I know for a fact that we're going through that time period because this is where we're at. We're at the end of Baktun 12, went into Baktun 13 back in 2012, right? At the 2012 at December 22nd to 24th, the solstice, when everybody thought the world was coming to an end. That was the end of Baktun 12, the big round by the Incans and the Mayans, right? Thank you for that. Right? Thank you. Who was that? Was that Louisa? Thank you for that, Louisa. Smash those hearts. I love you for doing what you're doing. So you can see on the screen what I'm here that way, what I'm here to talk about, and there's our email to contact us. But right now I'm talking about other spiritual things, Three Eye Atlas and the Native Americans and what they were talking about in their prophecy about the blue Kachina. So I heard there was a coincidence about that or some coincidence to that prophecy, but I didn't hear 100% of it. So that guy Joshua, I think his name was Joshua, don't quote me. Hopefully he's not on here right now going, dude, I just talked to you and you couldn't remember my name. I was talking to him on my profile. And he was mentioning it. And Eddie, who was part native, he also knew about it. So I was watching them, and then I looked it up and started trying to figure it out to see if there was a correlation, right? So because the time is right, according to that prophecy, the time is right. So I looked up the Three Eye Atlas, and I remember them saying that it had a different color than normal for some of these comets that go by. And it was also pointing the wrong direction in a weird way where some scientists were talking about, but I never vetted that whole thing about it facing the wrong way because it did go around the sun, right? But it was supposed to be trailing towards the sun, and it wasn't. It was trailing away, and that was weird. And they were talking about it, but I never vetted that part of it. But one of the things that I remember them saying about it is that the color had turned from red to blue. So I didn't think about the Kachina and the blue Kachina and that prophecy until today, because I had heard something about it and I went, well, I don't think that it has anything to do with prophecy from the natives because it didn't do anything. But I remember them saying that it was blue. So today, the guy's talking about that. Him and Eddie are talking about it. And they said, the blue Kachina doll and the prophecy about that. And I was like, wait a minute, what? So I looked it up. And the prophecy is from 10,000 years ago, or I don't know how many thousands of years ago. So don't get mad if I quote it wrong. From thousands of years ago, a native Hopi shaman said that in the future, in the time when things are going to get worse than they are now, and evil is going to be in control, total control of the earth, there's going to be a shift in the earth in the time when the evil is no longer going to be in charge of the planet. And in that time, there will be a blue star that is in the sky that comes by that people are going to see, and it's going to be a blue color, distinctive blue color. And when that happens, that's to signify that the masculine warlike energy is over and the feminine energy, we're moving into this area and this place of the universe where the feminine energy of the people is going to come back. And in that time, there's going to be this technology and there's going to be all of this stuff, and everything coincides 100% with now, with our technology, with exactly the way the world is. They were talking about planes flying when we didn't even have them, that we were going to be flying from one place to another, being able to communicate with people instantaneously around the world. All of this stuff they talked about thousands and thousands, possibly 10,000 years ago. I keep using that number because that was when the Hopi rock legend was carved and talked about. And I'm at this point just thinking that more than likely this prophecy came from that same era. So the blue and the blue Kachina is supposed to show herself in the heavens. And when that happens and she comes by, she's ushering in that time, which would be coinciding coincidentally or not with the age of Aquarius, with the end of Baktun 12 going into Baktun 13, and the solidification of Baktun 12, the warlike energy of the masculine energy in Mars is over, and we're moving into Baktun 13, which is the more feminine, godlike energy that we're supposed to come back to the balance. And that is exactly what they talked about. So I was going to talk about that on my live and forgot about it, and then learned more about it today because of the other live. And so then here I am, and I figured I might as well talk about it on this live, right? So that's kind of crazy. So it's kind of cool, right? So if you look, you should look into that. If you look into it and you read that legend, it looks like it's reading a book saying. So what I did was I then went on to Google, to the Google AI. I think it's called Gemini. Don't quote me on that one either. But and then I started asking questions about that correlation, right? So then I said, because I was talking about timelines, the time shifts, the Mandela effect, and what the thinking of that was. And then I went and I started talking about the blue Kachina and what was that about, and how does that, if at all, correlate with Three Eye Atlas. And of course AI is trying to go, well, that's speculation and this and that. And so I asked direct questions. Okay, so how many comets have come by this planet in the last 250 years that we're aware of that had a blue contrail, blue trail from it that was witnessed? And then the AI went into the description of, well, most of the comets are red, and sometimes they're white if they have eyes, but it's rare that they have this blue color. And I'm like, you're not answering the question. What is the number of comets that have come through in the last 200 years that have the blue, streak behind it, contrail? And then so AI finally said less than a handful. Couldn't give me a direct number, though it's not possible to give a direct number because it is possible that some went by that nobody noticed. However, the ones that we do notice, it's been less than a handful. And I said, okay, so with that knowledge and the knowledge of the blue Kachina and that legend, how much of that legend and that prophecy it coincides with any of those, and specifically Three Eye Atlas, and to what percentage? Okay. And of course, the AI started with, though it's just purely speculation, and then it is a tale from a long time ago, and da 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 da. Get to the meat of it. Get to the meat of it. The Three Eye Atlas falls in the category of the timeline exactly fitting exactly everything that the natives said, because they didn't say an exact time, but they said technology and people and this and that, right? So they actually say some of those things. Red Rock, thank you for joining our Merlin and Maeve team there. Thank you for that. Right, smash those hearts, guys, because we can get the count up, and then we can get me being on here long enough and jump through the hoops so that we can unlock more and more people being able to come into the live, because you have to do that. And you have to go live like a couple of days in a row or something. I'll have to look it up. So according to looking up at Google, that's cool. Who gave me that? That's cool. Red Rock did that. That was kind of cool. Thank you very much. Right? Louisa's over there when she's saying, "Are you hitting the hearts too?" Thank you for that. If you're doing that, thank you for helping us out with that. Join us if you haven't. Whoever wherever you guys are in the world. If you guys are starting to hear my voice and seeing me here on Merlin and Maeve, join the team, and you'll see, because we're going to start posting all of the posters for our products and the things that we're going to be bringing to you, and the knowledge that we're going to be bringing to you, and the different events and things like that. So please do that. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Red Rock Elements. So literally, this thing fits. So I was, joking about that and going, Three Eye Atlas is just nothing, because everybody was saying aliens and disclosure, and it was a drone and first contact. I'm like, it's a rock. It's coming through here. The only thing different about it is, and that was where that blue hue that's coming off of it, but it's leaving now, and it's leaving our solar system, as a matter of fact, and it's on its way to Virgo right now. So it's going away. It's almost out of our solar system completely. It's going to be gone in a few days. Like I think they said by the January 6th or 7th or something. So next week it's gonna be gone, right? So or a month from now, you know what I mean? Because December 6th or 7th is coming up, because we're like December 1st right now, unless you're in the United States or in the UK. Well, actually, if you're in the UK, you've already passed midnight. If you're in the United States, you're not quite past midnight yet. If you're on the West Coast, right, or on the North American continent, you're still on yesterday. So because you haven't passed that timeline there, but you're getting there. So literally everything that it said, enough of it to where it's kind of spooky, right? But I can tell you that exactly what they were predicting was going to happen is actually happening, because I know this. We came here to do this. Okay. So without having that blue Kachina in the sky, or that blue Kachina energy where she's supposed to be showing herself to the world, it was still happening. So that actually coming by at this time and then giving off strangely, they didn't expect it to get off a blue streak, because contrail, because that's very, very rare. They expected it to be white if there was ice, or red if there were certain gases, and that's what it was. It was red, and then it went around the sun and something changed in it, and as it was coming back from going around the sun, it started to show this blue hue on its way through and out, which coincides with that prophecy, right? So that's a good sign for those of us who are aware of this anyways, and have been coming here to teach exactly that. So know that someone predicted this 10,000 years ago, and it just happened to the month, and the technology and all the signs were there. So it's not an alien spaceship. It's not a disclosure. It's not a drone, but it is something that someone knew about and predicted that was going to happen at exactly the time they said it was going to happen. So that's pretty intense. And I can tell you, because I came here for this, that most people, if you're paying attention, especially if you're somebody who came here to do this, you're going to know the story of that. You're going to go, yeah, that fits the timeline, no matter what. That fits the timeline. So it's not like they got lucky, right? It's not, because even AI was like, well, it's kind of like Nostradamus and and other predictions that so, and I was like, no, you don't get lucky enough to exactly. That's like when people were saying that about when Jesus came here, that well, you could just read into anything you want, and people were like, but really, because that Jesus fulfilled 6,000 prophecies. It wasn't like it was 1, 2, got lucky, 3, 10. 6,000 prophecies to the millisecond. And the Hebrews still, some of them, not all of the Hebrews, the Pharisees, 14 or so of the Pharisees, decided that they needed to get rid of him for power and political reasons, so they had him killed. Right. The rest of the Sanhedrin was trying to stop them, but they were pushing them out and didn't let them have a vote. And quickly, before everybody was awake, voted on it. True story. You can read it in the Bible. Well, and then got him in front of Pilate. So Pilate had to execute him before anybody else woke up. That's what they were doing there with that, right? So it wasn't, a lot of people get worried because people are like, oh no, anti-Semite, because you're going to blame it on all the Jews. No, most people, if you're aware, it wasn't the entire race. It wasn't the entire religion. It was literally 14 dudes who wanted their power. And so they're the ones who did that. Right. And so it's not everybody. You don't want to get mad at everybody over it. And you guys did it. But, some people want to drum that up because they like to have that, because they're trying to get things going in a way that we shouldn't be going down the road of, because they want to, unalive as many people as they can, before the turn of the century, before things turn because the blue Kachina showed up, before we get to the 2,000-year anniversary of the death and resurrection of said Jesus Christ a second ago that we were just talking about, because that's coming up. That's coming up in the next couple of years. Truly, you can look that up. There's a Bible dictionary out there that's the Smith's Bible Dictionary that most religions that are Christian religions use as their Bible, the Dictionary of Bibles, because Smith took all of the information from all over, before there was an internet to compile that, took all the information from all over the world and put it all together and correlated every category A to Z. Crazy amount of work. Today it would take AI about a nanosecond to do the same thing, and then lie about it. But back then he actually had to go out and find all this material and put it all together in a hardcover piece of paper book. And in that piece of paper book, in that hardcover book, there's the date that we historically know that Jesus was born. There's a date that we know that Jesus died, and there is a date that we know that Jesus was resurrected. There's even the time of the day that he was standing there going, "Doubt me, Thomas? Look at the holes." Notice I put them in my wrists, not at my hands. Ask yourself why I did that. So there's a little bit of homework. So we know that. So when you calculate that as to when he was born, when the 2,000-year anniversary is, it's coming up. It's shifting slightly with the timeline shifts. They say is not happening. Mandela effect. We're just remembering things wrong because we're hillbillies and we don't remember them things proper. We're just delusional all around the world. Whole millions of us, maybe even a billion of us. We just stupid and we see things the wrong way. That's why it's called the Mandela effect. So anyway, with those things that are happening, but it looks at this point that 2027, April 2027, is the 2,000-year anniversary of the death and resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth, according to that document. Okay. So it would behoove them to try and do something before then, because that's also coinciding weirdly with the blue Kachina and the Hopi rock legend and the Hopi blue Kachina legend from 10,000 years ago, and coinciding weirdly with the Incan Mayan calendar, big round, stopping and starting from 2012 in the summer or winter solstice of the, I'm saying summer solstice because I'm in Australia now, the winter solstice, December 22nd to 24th, at that exact moment when Baktun 12 ended and Baktun 13 ended. And then they said that there was a 3-year time period for an activation and another 3-year time period. So that's 6 years. So 2012 plus 6 is 2018 before things were going to shift at all. And then after that, from 2018, there was another 3-year time period, which would have put it from 1920, 21. And then there would be upheaval, 2021, right? Jibber jabber, Kowalski, you know what I'm talking about? That thing that we had going on for about 3 or 4 years. They actually said the same thing, weirdly, that there was going to be something like that happening. And then if that would go on for about another 3 years. And then when that ended, that would put us right about around 2024. And then they said about another 3 years after that until the solidification of a Hopi rock legend. 2024 plus 3 is 2027. April 2027 coincides weirdly with the Blue Kachina coming in 2025. And then the 2000 year anniversary of Jesus' death and resurrection falling on the same year, 2027. So all these things are coinciding in a weird way that's happening in the next 3 years. Today's 2025, 2026. They were talking on the show today that that's supposed to be a very big activation year going into 2027. So we have this stuff that literally is saying all of these things are converging between now and 2030 in a very intense way, and specifically 2025, 26, 27, going into 2028. Okay. So yeah, please follow us, like us, and share this love with you all, right? So that we can share this love with you all. Please do that. Hit those hearts, champions. Hit those hearts for me, please, so we can get those hearts up and make sure that you share this out with your friends and family to get us to follow Merlin and Maeve. This is Brooke and I's company. You guys, especially those of you that pop in that follow me anyways on my channel, follow this channel. That channel is going to continue with this kind of education where I'm going to be talking to you and answering questions. And this channel is going to be all over the internet to all the different places where there is Merlin and Maeve. We're on every platform, just about. We're going to be broadcasting all of the information that we're going to be having courses, classes, and workshops to teach you these things that you need to know, not just the information, general information that I keep throwing at people, but to teach you the other things that you need to know or want to do. Specifically, we also teach psychic abilities and how to enhance and unlock your own psychic abilities, even if you don't have one and you want one. Okay. I've been teaching this for 30 years. On Facebook, we had a team of people for 8 years. We just stopped doing that because everybody had to go out and do their own thing. And I was, changing everything that I was doing as well. But we were teaching people how to develop their psychic abilities, whatever they wanted to do, whatever kind of psychic abilities you wanted to have, because you can have them, right? And we're teaching you that too. That's part of our spiritual life coaching, that your focus determines your reality. You can manifest anything. Spirit walking, we're going to have a course on that. We were talking about that because people are asking about it. I'm going to do a course on astral projection, spirit walking, learning dream walking, learning to control your dreams. I have the shaman training. I've had that shaman training since I was a kid. Literally grew up with it as a Merlin. You get that shaman training. I went through 19 years of my life to get the Merlin title and learning all of this stuff. So I'm going to start giving this back to the world. We've been holding it away from the world until the world was ready for it. I know I sound like a Native American. I only have 5% Native. You can't tell by looking at me. I look very European, but the native, the religion, being a druid and growing up with the Wiccan and the Druid religions in the background and the Christian and Catholic religions in the foreground, this information, the people of Europe that were Celts, that were Celtic Vikings, that were not the warlike Vikings, that were the peaceful Vikings, very, very much like the Native Americans over the United States and the Aborigines here in Australia, very spiritual people, and the practice was very spiritual, right? I feel that I'm intuitive, Red Rock says, but never had a mentor to understand it or how to develop it. That's what happens to most people, my friend. It really does. I was lucky enough to have a father who was awake. He came through to be my life coach, to do what he did in the families that he did so that I could come in awake as well, not veiled, and that he could then help me to understand. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club till you're old enough, until you're older. But then, knowing that I was coming here to do this, because what happens to most of us is that the people that you're in your family, they don't know anything about it. And they're just like, yeah, Timmy, you need to stop doing that. That's just there's a time when you're supposed to outgrow those special friends, those fake friends that you just made up that you're talking to, or they just downright are afraid of it because they've been indoctrinated by their religion to go, oh, that's the devil. Stop that. And don't talk about it. And then they get you to stifle it. They stifle you and lock you into this matrix, right? So just so you know, my friend, that this is what we're here to do. Okay, both Brooke and myself, and we do have a team of people that are working with us even now that you guys don't know about behind the scenes, some of which are doing counseling with us, some of which is not, and they're doing other things, right? So we have an entire group of people that we came here with, a pretty large group of people that we came here with that is doing this. And then there's all those other people around the world that came here that are doing the same thing, right? They're starting to wake up. So there's going to be a mentor that's going to be there for you. If you vibe with me or you vibe with Brooke, we can help you with whatever you need help with, right? Just contact us so that we can talk about it and figure out what it is that you're looking for and what it is that you're needing. If you don't vibe with us, go find somebody that you do vibe with, my friend, because they're out there now. People are wanting to help you develop. This is what I came here to do. I've been doing it my entire life. My wife is doing the same thing. This is what we're here to do. We're starting these courses for people, workshops for people, so that we can help you guys to wake up so that you can gain the abilities that you came here with or you want. If you're not in service to self, we're here to help you being in service to others to continue on that path and help you to find your way down that path, even if it's just, and we'll probably be doing this, well, I guarantee we'll be doing this, even if it's just a vision board, right? I'm a life coach and a spiritual life coach. So is my wife. We have literally, we're going to have a course, I'm sure, on just vision boards and manifesting things and to manifest. I'm being told that we are going to be doing that, teaching you how to manifest things and how to make that stuff happen. Right. I was just talking to Brooke about that because she came home and said, wow, there's a lot happening. And I said, that's because we're living it. We're breathing it. We're talking about it. We're sleeping it 24 hours a day. And she said, yeah, you're right. I'm like, that's how it works. She goes, right? Exactly. That's exactly how it works. That's why I brought it up. We just had that conversation, literally letting each other know that we're both on the same point and we both realize it and we both are doing that. You have to be the same way. You have to keep things close to the vest. We're going to teach you all of this stuff because sometimes you don't want to let your family know so they don't block you in some way. That's some of the dark arts stuff that we're going to be talking about. And that course, I'm backwards. I'm pointing this way is actually the way it is on my screen when I'm looking at it. And that way is where it does for you. So the defense against the dark arts isn't just like, oh no, look out, witches. It's going to be about negativity as well, because we also have to teach about that. We have to teach about your own internalized. So we'll be doing that in another course, teaching you about that in life coaching and how you change what was within you, change that within you. And there was back in the 90s, they were teaching things. They had a series of books that became a series of documentaries. It was called The Secret. And when they were talking about that, it was all this big thing. And I was sitting there at my mother's house with my brother one weekend, and we were watching football or something, and the commercial came on or TV show was on. I don't remember what it was. And we were sitting there watching, listening about it. And as they were talking about what the secret was and everything that you do, my brother looks at me and he says, you realize our father was teaching us all this our entire lives? And I said, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Right. So our father was teaching us all of this stuff. And then it became this thing to do back in the 1990s. Right. Well, I still teach it, not because they were teaching it. And I never read those books. And I never, I saw the stuff where they were given like this is the infomercial for it. But it was all the same stuff that we were already being taught. Why is that important? Well, it's important because it's information that you can unlock yourself. It's important because it's the same thing that Carl Jung was teaching. It's the same thing that Lao Tzu was teaching. It's the same thing that Jesus of Nazareth was teaching. Okay. It is a way of life that helps you to unlock all of this stuff. It's right in front of you, but you're unaware of it. So there's people like myself that are here to help you hone that and see those things, show them to you, and give you the tools and assist you with that and show you that you're not crazy, you're not alone, and that you're not making it up, that this stuff actually happens because it's supposed to happen now at this time. And that if you're ready, you can have anything that you want. Okay. So if you vibe with us, brother, just message us, let us know, and we can work with you and find out what you're looking for. And if we don't provide the service to help you with it, someone else will, and we can say go and talk to these people because they're going to be able to help you. Okay. And let your friends and family know that. Anybody who's curious in any way, send them the link. Maybe they'll like us. Maybe they'll vibe with me. Maybe they'll vibe with my wife. Who knows, right? So you guys can either follow me on my personal page because I'm going to continue going live teaching this on Leonard O'Neill, right? And you can find me on Orion Rising. That's my podcast. I have Out there on MP3 right now, there's 540 episodes or 537 episodes of my show, and most of those are 3 hours long minimum, talking about spirituality, showing you the theology of religion and comparing the spiritual practices and then breaking it down and interpreting it for you and telling you what that stuff means. I literally went through the entire Corpus Hermeticum from Hermes, and I did the whole entire book. I just finished last week, a week ago this weekend, so not this weekend that we're in right now, just finishing because it's Monday here in Australia, but the week before that, on that Saturday, I finished the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That's up there, right? I did the Law of One. That's 6 books up there. I did all kinds of stuff that you can listen to. I even talked about the non-incident at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 with the alien spaceship that didn't happen, and the captain of that spaceship that didn't happen and didn't exist, who was a gray alien who wasn't, because all of this is for entertainment purposes only, and it's denied by the government. And it wasn't a female, and she didn't call herself Errol, and she didn't have telepathic communications with a person who was working for the CIA and the deep state in Roswell, New Mexico, inside the military base. None of that happened. And while none of that was happening, they didn't have a conversation for like 3 months. And that conversation wasn't handed to a man who handed it to me, that when he made a video out of it and said, here's the correlation of it. And I didn't use that video that's not on YouTube right now currently, because it is. And I didn't do 25 episodes of my podcast talking about what that alien told the world. Right? Which is a lot more information about the reality about reality. Or that right there is my book, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. You guys can look that up online, and that will tell you, and that's also what's on my shirt right here, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. And it literally is a comprehensive book that's going to tell you this is something that happened on this earth 10 to 12,000 years ago coming forward, and then 2,000 years ago, and then 1,000 years ago. There are certain things that happened here, and that's why you're where you're at right now, and that's why you're stuck, and that's why we're here to help you. Okay? So not only am I teaching that sort of stuff, but we're teaching you other things. We're going to be teaching courses so that we can, like, because I come at you. My wife will tell you, I come at you and I just start flinging like I have one of those machines shooting dollars. And it's just thoughts and it's information. It's just going out into the crowd, right? And then by the time you get off one of my shows, you're like, whoo, whirlwind of information. This guy just told me the secret to the universe like 5 times and I don't even remember what he said. Okay? But I'm doing that on purpose because I'm grabbing all of you guys and I'm pulling you up out of your comfort zone. And I'm getting you to an uncomfortable place where you're like, yeah, I don't know if I can take any more of this, Leo. You gotta just let me go, dude. Right? And then I let you go, and then you sit on it and you go, that was fucking crazy. Whoo, wore me out. But it's a whirlwind, and then it starts to sink in, right? At first, if you're living in the flesh, I'm crazy, that's what you're going to think, and you're not going to be able to stop yourself from thinking that. Okay? And that's okay. It is. It's just because you're in a place that is not good for you, and I'm pulling you up too high. Christy Lee, welcome in. Right? When you guys get here, I'll hop in and say something. Don't just hop in and swipe and take off. Ask questions. That's what I'm here for. Right? Ask questions and you will see. Ask me a question and I will tell you no lies. That's what I tell you when I'm on my podcast. If you're not following me, look my name up, Leonard O'Neill, and you can follow me on my TikTok, or listen to my podcast called Orion Rising. Otherwise, follow Merlin and Maeve. That's what you're on right now, what I'm on right now. Follow that, and you will see the products that we're going to be helping you guys with. Classes, workshops, teaching you how to unlock your abilities, how to wake yourself up, how to defend yourself, how to unlock every bit of knowledge in the universe. See, there's my, that's my, right there is my account. My wife's on there on my phone in the other room right now. She's on hers as well. So pin your name up there too, baby. But Leonard O'Neill, you guys can see it on your screen in the chat. Leonard O'Neill, I go live on TikTok. I went Saturday and Sunday. I'll be going live. We're going to pick another day. We're going to find the day because the weekends for us, we're going to be teaching classes and having courses that we're going to be doing. And if you're in the New South Wales area of Australia, coming up on the 7th of December, I think it's the 7th. I think it's the 7th of December on the Sunday coming up this coming weekend, this coming Sunday is going to be a fair, and I don't have the flyer in front of me. I should have put it up, but we're going to be at the Mystic Moon Fair again. We're going to be there. We're going to be selling wares this time. My wife has been making jewelry. I usually do it too, but she's been doing all of it this time. And I usually make all kinds of jewelry, and she's doing it. She's loving it. We have earrings and necklaces and pendants and things that we are making, and that we're going to be selling them to you. We're also going to be doing Reiki. I'm going to be having my book. Where is it? Let me get off the screen. I'm going to be doing book signing, where I'm going to be, if you want to come and buy a book, hardcover and softcover, or one or the other, and have me sign it. We're going to be doing that there live. I'm also going to be on stage there live talking to everybody in the fair about spirituality, and we are going to go live, and it's going to be broadcast for you guys on TikTok to ask questions in the chat. And my wife is going to be sitting there and taking those questions and fielding those. So in between questions that I'm going to be having from the crowd, she's going to be able to say to me, Leo, so and so, like, maybe Red Rock, if you're there, Red Rock Elements ask this question, and then I'll talk to the you guys on TikTok, and I'll answer the question to everybody at the fair and to you guys at the same time. Okay, so it's interactive. You guys get to, even if you're wherever you are in the world, I'll be live, and I don't know the exact times yet. I just sent my information into the coordinator, and I don't know the time, but I'm going to be live twice for an hour each time, and we're going to be there between noon our time, that's West or East Coast, same time as Sydney, Australia, East Coast, Australia, New South Wales time, from noon until 7 p.m. In that time period, from noon until 7 p.m., somewhere in there, I'm going to be live twice for an hour each time on TikTok and in front of the crowd. They're talking. Okay. So if you guys want to hop into that and see me live there and ask questions about spirituality, that would rock the house, because usually I get thousands of questions. I get so many that when I'm on my page that I can't answer them all. Sometimes people get a little annoyed because I got to go fast and talk fast and do that. Okay. So I work with wealthy families. Some practice dark practices, right? Some people do that, practice dark practice, and I want to protect myself. Not sure how. This course right here on the screen, that way, on the screen right here, is perfect for that. Okay. If you want to learn how to take care of yourself and protect yourself, even without them knowing it, and then reflect that energy away from you so they can't do anything, this is the perfect, again, I'm pointing the wrong direction, right? I'm going over here. This is the perfect course for you. Wherever you are in the world, it'll fit. You can see the timeline up on the screen there. And we'll teach you all the basics of what you need in that 2-day time period. You'll be able to defend yourself and keep their energy away from you. And you'll also be able to cleanse yourself of any energy that they try to attach to you. Okay. And that's just to be the basic, but you'll be fine. You'll be able to do that. And welcome, brother. I see you. Wow, I'm glad you popped in to say hi. Right. Thank you. The enlightened one popped in. Welcome, man. I'm glad you found us over here, right? And found me live. Thank you. Share this out for me and hit those hearts for me, please, brother. Let's get this stuff out for the world to see. This is my wife and I's company. This is our company page, Merlin and May, brother. Send this off to your family and friends. And there's our other way again. There's our course that's up and coming that we're going to be doing. The Defense Against the Dark Arts, going to be a 2-day event. You can see that there. And it's going to be a Zoom call. So wherever you are, you can sit in your house. You can be on your phone. You can be driving to work, whatever you want to do. You don't have to be anywhere. You don't even have to turn your camera on if you're afraid to have your camera on. We're not going to be live on the air, so it's not going to be broadcast for the world. I forgot to mention that. It's going to be in a Zoom, and that means it's going to be off air, so you're going to be free to be able to speak your mind. We were doing this. We just stopped doing that because my wife and I both had our moms pass, and we were going through a lot of transitioning because of that with our mothers and taking care of that. But prior to that, we used to do a Zoom call once a week at a certain time for people to be able to come in and talk about spirituality and ask questions off camera without the world seeing them asking questions, in case they wanted to say things and they didn't want their family to know about it. Okay. Raven, welcome. So literally, we're going to be doing that. The Zoom calls that we're going to be doing for that 2-day time period, you guys can just chill wherever you are and not have to worry about anybody hearing you, unless you live in a house where you got to be quiet because your family or whatever is in the next room. Then you can put in earbuds and watch us on camera and type if you have to, because there will be a chat. I don't know if you've ever been in a Zoom call before, but we'll teach you that stuff, brother. So yeah, please, yeah, right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, enlightened one. Right. So yeah, bonjour, right, to Raven. Send this off to your friends. Everybody send these off and share this out to their friends and smash those likes because I'm trying to, we're live for the first time on Merlin and Maeve. We got up what we needed to get up to go live. Right today, at the last second, we had to verify that we owned this account. I'm okay with that because we didn't want somebody stealing our account. But Brooke and I had to verify. No, really, this is ours. We own it. We created it. It's ours. Look at the logo. It's a picture of my wife and I. Other way around, right? Look at the logo. It's a picture of my wife and I. So literally, we had to do that. Thank you for that. Who was it that sent that? Raven did that. Thank you for that. Like I said, smash those hearts. We'll get that way up. I love that. We got like 41K. That way that expands and lets us get more people to come in to here. And we do post stuff every day. I post at least one meme or something every single day. You're going to see me talking. You're going to see Brooke talking. You're going to see us posting different memes that are inspirational. If you look on my platform, if you look on Brooke's platform, if you look on Merlin and Maeve, on all the platforms, you'll see we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on X. I'm on X anyway. I don't think Brooke is. But I'm on X. Merlin and Maeve's not up there yet, but we'll have it. We're on Snapchat. I don't think we have a Merlin and Maeve Snapchat yet, but I think we're making that. Brooke and I are both on Snapchat. I'm not sure where else. We're still working at that. We have a website that's going to be up soon. We have it. We just don't have it. We're in construction, right? We're with everything else that we're doing all of this and getting the courses together and the classes and speaking live to people and actually teaching people is, we're going to have to end up hiring people to help work for us, to get that stuff there done. There is much to learn. Good. Yeah. Good. You're assisting others in the journey. There is a lot to learn. There's a lot that people need to know, and people are asking more and more people are asking questions now about what's going on. Right. So that's why I put my book out. I didn't want to put a book out for a long time because I've already written some books, but I didn't want to put them out for a long time. And they were like, no, you got to write this one. You got to write this one. They're getting from up here. They're going, you got to write this one. Right. So thank you. I know you do really support us. And they thank you for that, brother. Because you do. Because you're passing us on. You're talking to people about us. I know you're doing that. You're linking us. You always do that. You're sharing our stuff, reposting our stuff. And I thank you for that. And I love you for that. Because we have to get this information out to the world. That's why I wrote that book, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. It's right here on my shirt. The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. Merlin and Maeve, this is what we came here to do. We have been on this planet for many lifetimes, more than 30 lifetimes. We've been on this planet together doing this in the past. Now we're coming out and telling people what we're doing. Before we did it and didn't let anybody know who we were. Okay. Now we're coming out and we're actually saying that we're doing this and we're standing up because they used to hunt us down and kill us. Right. There was a time when it was harder for us to not get killed by evil people. Today they can't do it anymore because we're completely protected and the shift has happened and they can't do anything about it. The only thing they can do now is try to stifle us when we're on these freaking platforms. But that's not working either because there's too many of us now. Right. Right. Thank you. Right. Enlightenment says, happy to see you both in service, being in service. Yes, this is what we came here to do. This is what we're here doing. Okay. So make sure you pass this on to your friends and family. Pass not just us, but just the information altogether to people to get them to look at everybody else. There's so many people that have been doing this that never got a lot of credit. I had somebody ask me in the live the other day about Dolores Cannon. Never met that woman. I wish I had. People are asking me about Bashir. Never met that guy. I met Bashir, but not the guy who's channeling Bashir on this planet. But love those guys, right? Alan Watts. Never met Alan Watts. Love Alan Watts, right? And then you have people that are, all over the planet from other times, right? Now I gotta put the puzzle piece in, right? So that they know that I'm not a robot. Hold on here. There we go. No, it says unable to verify it. Try it again. Hold on. I'll do it with down here with this instead because it goes past it when I do it the other way. There it goes. Okay, so I had to verify that I was not a robot. I'm like, I kind of like that they do that because you can't just go live and then walk away. You have to actually stay there and monitor it. So I'm okay with that, right? So then it pops up and you have to do that puzzle piece. I don't know if you guys have never gone live, you don't know that it does that, but it does that to all of us. I thought, does it just do that when you first go live? And people are like, no, it does it to you all the time. When you're live on TikTok, you have to actually do a little puzzle piece to tell them that you're not a robot. And I was like, wow, okay, because I go live on StreamYard and go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram all at the same time. I've been doing that forever. I've been going live and producing. I was a producer before I was speaking. I was behind the scenes doing big webinars and producing huge webinars and bringing in talent to talk on webinars. And then I started interviewing people. And then I went from there to having my own show, right? My father worked at NASA 20 years plus. I never worked at NASA. They tried to recruit me. The military tried to recruit me. I think you were in the audience when I was talking about that when I was 11 years old. They wanted me to go to work for them. I have a nephew right now that's probably working for NASA. He's probably at Skunk Works. I don't know where he is, and he can't tell anybody where he is. And his younger brother is smarter than he is. But I think the younger brother won't go to work for the government. But you never know because money that they offer you, I was 11 and they were recruiting me. They wanted me bad. They wanted me now, and they wanted me at 11, and they wanted to start paying me then. I could have been rich, right? But you guys wouldn't have me now. I wouldn't be teaching this. I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff, right? Grandfather Hughes Aircraft and Segundo, El Segundo. Yeah, okay, right? Yeah, El Segundo, California. That's one of the places the Skunk Works is developing everything, right? Yeah, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, right? No joke. I grew up next to the Concord Naval Weapons Station. I literally grew up in the city of Concord. Was born in the city of Walnut Creek. The Concord Naval Weapons Station was the biggest naval weapons platform in the Western Hemisphere until the United States made the one in San Diego Harbor. Okay. So before that, all the way up until the 1950s or 60s, the naval weapons platform for the North American continent was the Concord Naval Weapons Station. That's up in the San Francisco Bay area. You go in the San Francisco Bay, past San Francisco, and you had to get past a bunch of forts there. Then you had to get past about 6 or 7 more forts to get all the way inland to where that place was, right? No joke. You had to go past where the state capital was, 2 different state capitals. The one, because there used to be one in Benicia and there used to be one in Martinez. You go past both of those to get to the Concord Naval Weapons Station. Everybody that I knew grew up working for it or around it or because of it. The city grew up because of that naval weapons station that I grew up in, right? So that was all deep state stuff, right? My friend El Segundo was just down the block. Right? Miramar was down in Southern California, right? I even knew people that were stationed in Miramar, right? There were flyboys in Miramar, right? I only brought that up to say I grew up knowing things only people in California would know, right? I would dream about. No joke, my friend. Especially if it's attached to the different things that the deep state's doing in the west coast of the United States, right? California was the center, still is the center for that. Yeah, in the Bay Area, and just from the Bay Area down, right? From the from the North Bay all the way down to the border of California was like all of that. I want, you know what? I saw a UFO. This is all for entertainment purposes only. TikTok. I don't want you to get kicked off of there, but but the enlightened one. Let me tell you a story. Back in 2016, I was going from the state of Arizona. I lived in Queen Creek, Arizona, which is way out, 45 minutes west or east, southeast of Phoenix, Arizona, way out in the desert. We were so far out in the desert, my friends in Phoenix said that we should be rezoned as Mexico or New Mexico because we were so far out in the desert, right? We were over there, way out there. So I was coming from there, and I was going across. I was going across the same place where the train, the train to Yuma, the 210 to Yuma or whatever it was. That train when it goes across the Highway 2, which is on the border of Mexico and California and Arizona, and I was driving across there to go into San Diego, California. So I was going across Highway, I think it's Highway 8 there. It's either 2 or 8 there, and it's in the southern part of the state. And you go up the mountain 4,500 feet over this big the Rockies, right? The Rockies that are way out there. We call it the Grapevine there, but it's the Sierra Mountains. And you go up 4,500 feet, and then you drop straight down into San Diego. If you know anything about California and you've ever been down there, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, then that's what, and you literally drop down, and it's all military there. San Diego is all military. They have a submarine base there, the Marines are there, the Air Force is there, everybody's there, the Navy's there. And San Diego Harbor is just, I lived there, okay, and I was going there because I lived in Arizona. My wife and I were separating, and so that's my ex-wife. We were separating, and I was going over to the San Diego Harbor because that was where my yacht was at. And I was moving onto the yacht, so I was on my way driving there, and I get all the way up 4,500 feet, and I'm driving through the Rocky Mountains, and it's all mountain on this side of me, but on this side of me, there's this big giant valley that you can see the ocean. It goes right out to the ocean, right? Thank you for that. Who gave me that? That was good. Red Rock gave me that. Oh, thank you for that. Keep hitting those hearts, champions. Please keep hitting those, and keep sending this out to your friends, because like the first time I go live, I think I can only have like 10 people in here or something, and then it expands out to 75 eventually, and then it gets bigger the more that we get bigger. So I'm driving along, right? I'm up on the top of the mountain on the highway, driving through the freaking mountain, and we're doing like 60, 65 miles an hour, right? We're driving along. I don't know what that is in kilometers per hour. It's like 110, I think, kilometers an hour. It's 100 or 110, 65 miles an hour, so it's something like that. Anyway, 108 to 110. So I'm driving along, and as I'm driving along, something catches my attention, so I look over, and I'm looking down this valley now that goes out to the ocean. Okay, that goes out to the ocean, and I look down, and no word of a lie, I saw that big cigar-shaped UFO facing away from me, moving away from me. And I'm driving along, and I looked over and I looked back because you don't want to crash. Looked over, looked back, looked over, took my foot off the gas, let my van start to coast, and I'm just looking, right? And like the third time I looked at it, as I'm looking at it, it freaking cloaked. It's moving away from me, and it's sitting there floating along, moving away from me, and then all of a sudden it just went gone, nothing there. And I just looked a couple times, kept driving, and went, note to file. I just saw that cigar-shaped UFO that everybody talks about. Right? You're in Arizona. Okay, so you probably know where I'm at. I think didn't you ask me that? Somebody asked me that when I was on one of the lives, that they were in Arizona, and they asked me where I was. I was in Queen Creek. I don't know if you know where that is. And that's like 30 minutes south of AJ, right? So I don't know what part of that was you, right? I think it was you that asked me that. You said, where in Arizona? Because I had mentioned it then. So where are you at in Arizona? Did I ask you that when I was on the live? Sometimes when I'm channeling my friend, I don't remember who I talked to or what I said. Scottsdale. Oh, I went to Scottsdale once. So you're up in the north above the rim. It snows there. Yeah, you work in Scottsdale. It snows up there. I went up there because when I went up to the Grand Canyon, you got to go up through Scottsdale if you come from Phoenix. You go up through Scottsdale and then you go over to the canyon. So we went up there when I was there one year, and it was snowing up there at the Grand Canyon. It was snow. I have pictures of the Grand Canyon. There's no snow in any of the pictures, and I was showing them to Brooke. And I said, you can't tell, but I was in a jacket and snow gear. And she goes, in Arizona? I said, we were up above the rim. It was snowing. It was winter. It was snow. We had to walk through the snow to get to that. All the pictures that I took, I didn't take pictures of the snow on purpose because I wanted to get pictures of the Grand Canyon. So, but I said, if I would have turned around, there was mountains of snow standing behind me. Right? So Grand Canyon was beautiful, by the way. Scottsdale's beautiful, by the way. But it's a modern city, but it's still beautiful. It's like Phoenix, but smaller. You know what I mean? Not so negative, though. Scottsdale's a pretty place. Yeah, it's 55 right now. See, there you go. It's freaking cold over there. Well, you guys are going into winter. Over here, we're going into summer, so it's getting hot over here. But right now, it's only about 17, right? Not 17 Fahrenheit, though. It's probably about 17 degrees Celsius, which is your Fahrenheit would be about 68, 70, 72 maybe degrees. So you're 55, you're even colder right now, right? It gets like that, right? So, and then as soon as the sun goes down, you guys are going to be freezing, right? Or the sun is down because you're either at 12 a.m. or you're at 1 a.m. because I think you guys do the time change up there, don't you? We didn't do the time change down in the valley, but I think you guys do the time change. So you sprung forward, right? So you're probably 12 a.m. right now. You're 1 a.m. Okay, so you are 1 hour ahead. You're 1 hour ahead of California, which means you guys didn't do the time change, right? Or you did? Yeah. Where? Oh, I'm in New South Wales, Australia, brother. I'm not in the United States anymore. I got married to my wife Brooke and came over here to Australia. So I'm actually in New South Wales, Australia right now, in a city called Woy Woy, which is a Aborigine name. I think it means coast, but don't quote me. It means like coastal waters or something like that. I don't know. I haven't learned all the vernacular for the natives over here and what their words mean. But yeah, no time change. So you guys don't do it either. There were certain parts of Arizona that did the time change, and when I lived there in Queen Creek, we didn't do it. We didn't do the time change at all. So everybody else around us changed. Over here, we do the time change in New South Wales. But there's parts of Australia that don't do the time change either, right? My sister-in-law is in Melbourne. Oh, in Melbourne. Okay, Melbourne's north of us. Yeah, it's quite a ways north. A few hundred. Sorry, there goes the train. A few hundred miles north of us. South. Oh, south of us. My wife's saying south of us. Oh, she said Melbourne's south from us. She said they're south of the border. Thought they were north on the thing. She says they're south of the border. She says they're Australia's Mexico. That's just yelling at from the other room. Yeah, well, it's a beautiful place. I love Australia. Even I love that. And the enlightened ones laugh when you see him. Yeah, he says that's their Mexico, right? That's their Arizona. That's Australia's Arizona, my friend, especially in the south, especially Phoenix and out there where I was at, right? Um, yeah, that was where most of the people were native. I mean, we were on native land when I was living in Queen Creek. You had to go through either Apache land, right? From you would have to go through Apache land to get to me from up there in Scottsdale because you'd have to either come through Phoenix or go around the outside. And either way, you'd have to come through AJ. You'd have to go through Apache Junction just to come to my house when I was in Queen Creek. So to get from California over through Phoenix to get to Queen Creek, I had to go across two different reservations to get over there, right? Yeah, right. He's answering. You see that, Brooke? He's answering you. That's funny. So, yeah. So Melbourne. I've never been to. They don't call it Melbourne over here. They call it Melbourne. Melbourne. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Melbourne. So yeah, I think I flew by Melbourne. Melbourne. She's saying it, and I'm still not saying it right. She's in there saying it. Come here and say it so they can hear how it's supposed to be said with proper. She's probably not going to want to do it. No, she says I'm saying it okay when I said Melbourne. So yeah, we look at it and say Melbourne when we see it, but it's Melbourne. It's Melbourne. Melbourne. See, they don't even say the R the way. Brisbane, Melbourne. Brisbane. Oh, Brisbane is north. Melbourne's south. Brisbane's right. North. Melbourne south. Melbourne south. Look at her. She's over here. Gang signs. You see that? She flashed gang signs. She was flashing gang signs back there. She's laughing out there. So So yeah, guys, smash that stuff. Send this out to your friends. People are probably leaving because I'm just sitting here talking to you, right? And everyone's like, "I'm out of here." He's just talking to this one guy, man. I don't even know what they're talking about, right? So what is that? What kind of name is that, right? Asazi something. That was a long name. I wouldn't want to have one of those long names. I like some of the handles that people throw at you in on TikTok. People have some kind of cool handles. Some of them are weird, but some of them are kind of cool that they're just, they don't want to be just regular names. I'm selling myself. I'm a product, right? So is my book. Let's talk about that, right? I'm going to put this. I am going to download this live because I'm going to share this live on all the platforms, however long it is, and I'm going to put it on my MP3 broadcast. So that's why I keep doing commercials and talking about it because you can see the information, but I'm doing the verbals for the MP3 broadcast, which is going to go out to the world, right? So you guys on the MP3 broadcast, you can't see the email that I have on the screen. The email that I have on the screen is merlinandmaeve@gmail.com. That's Merlin, MERLIN, no spaces, the word A-N-D, Maeve, spelled MAEVE @gmail.com. Okay. If you're out there listening on the Orion Rising podcast, if you have access to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or X, you can look me up, Leonard O'Neill. If you're already listening to Orion Rising, you probably know that you can look up Orion Rising or myself on all those other platforms. You can look me up on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all over the place. You can look up my book, The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. Let me get out of the way. My book is on sale worldwide, online worldwide. You guys can find that out there. You can contact us at merlinandmaeve@gmail.com, or you can go on one of our platforms and you can click on one of our platforms for Merlin and Maeve, or my name, Leonard O'Neill, or Brooke O'Neill. If you go to Merlin and Maeve, our links to those are there. And we're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, I don't know where else we are, but we're all over the place. But you'll see that we have our products there for you. And if you don't like any of those platforms and you're just listening on an MP3 broadcast, you can still email us to get the information, and we will email you the information about the things that we're going to have the classes. And if you are listening on an MP3 broadcast, that means you have access to the internet. That means you have access to Zoom. You don't have to have a camera on if you don't want one, right? Okay, my brother and I are going to get running. I'll be back later to chat. Okay, if I'm still live, we'll chat. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, brother. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for hitting the likes. Thank you for following us over here, dude. And thank you for sharing us out, okay? And we'll see you either later or when you're online or when I'm online or whatever, right? And then we'll try to hook up and see what you want, what kind of services you need, and we'll try to help you as best we can. If you vibe with us, we'll run with it, brother. Have a good night. Right? Yeah, because you guys are going to go run. It's late. You should be going to bed, my friend. Have a good night. Okay. So, everybody, just like I said, smash those hearts. Keep doing that. I don't know how long I have to stay on. I'm going to stay on for at least an hour and a half because I remember it was 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes. And then the next one was like an hour and a half. So, if I hit the both on one, maybe I can get that. And then I'm going to get off of here and get something to eat and relax and talk to my wife. So, I'll probably be on for about another 10 minutes, guys. So if you guys have questions and you're in the audience, if you're being quiet, ask questions. I'm here to answer those. I am a spiritual guide. I am a minister because there's no bio for us because this is our company, Merlin and Maeve. That's our logo right there below me. That's our logo for our company. That's my wife from the Brooke who came in a minute ago. If you were in here, you saw her, right? Satori, Brooke, Satori Phoenix, Lilith, and she's Maeve of the Merlin and Maeve, right? So we are spiritual guides. We are life coaches. We are spiritual life coaches. We are Reiki master teachers. We are going to be teaching you the wrong direction. If you were interested, the Defense Against the Dark Arts 1 and 2. We'll have 2 classes for 1 that are coming up on the date you see on the calendar here. I can't get my finger to go the right direction to point at that. That you see on here, the dates and times. It is a Zoom call, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You do not have to be on camera if you don't want to turn your camera on. It is not going to be live on air. It is not going to be recorded. It is going to be completely anonymous, and so that way, if you're afraid and you don't want to ask questions, you don't want people to see you, it'll be just fine, right? How do we rise in flames? How do you do that? You want to actually raise fire, or are you talking about why do we rise in flames? Why? She's yelling at me, producing at me over there. Why do we rise in flames? Well, if you're talking about the Kundalini, if you're talking about that, or if you're talking about, I'm not exactly sure. So I think you're talking about the fire from the Kundalini fire. All light was fire. Okay, before we had incandescent bulbs, everything was flame, everything was fire. So Kundalini fire, Kundalini energy, energy of the Creator has always been synonymous with fire. Fire being the breath of God. That's the pneuma, the spark of God. The breath of God is that which gives you life. The life bringer has always been fire. So fire, rising in fire or rising with fire, has always been the Kundalini energy, the masculine and feminine energies of the universe. It's always been to bring fire, to have, put fire in your belly. There's these sayings that we have. Fire has always been synonymous with the Creator. Fire has always been synonymous with creation. Creation is fire. Fire is cleansing, right? When a forest is burned down, it's burned down by what? Wildfire. It's burned down by fire. Fire transmutes the landscape and burns that. The gases and the particles that are given off from the burning material is super miracle grow. I was listed as a chemist for 10 years in the United States, and I worked on pools and spas and all of that, and worked for a company. That's what we did. We put those in, we worked on them, we managed them for people, we taught people how to do it. I had to get certified every 5 years for that. And I did that, I had to get certified twice, and I was teaching people how to manage that. And one of the first things we said was, when you have forest fires and wildfires and you have smoke in the air, that smoke in the air is miracle grow for all plants. So the fire that is natural, that happens, was supposed to happen within you. It's supposed to happen without you. So why do we rise in flame? Why do we do that? Because that is the ascension. Fire goes up, smoke goes up. It is the ascension. As above, so below, as within, so without. So whatever you're doing in a spiritual way, right? In some prayers, okay, let me get my glasses on so I can read it. In some prayers, like crowing ceremonies, you state that you will rise crowned in flame. Absolutely, because that's the phoenix. My wife is that's the phoenix. She's the Satori phoenix. She's the knowledge, the light bringer. Satori literally means knowledge, expansion of consciousness, light bringing. The phoenix did the same. The phoenix was the death and the resurrection, the expansion of your consciousness. So a lot of the prayers say we rise with the fire, rise in the fire of God. It's the same as when in the Bible they tell that story of how the the king, I think it was the king, or maybe it was the guy in Rome, so it might have been the Caesar in Rome, took the Christians and put them in the fire, and they just stood there and didn't get burned. Why? Because it was the fire of God. Moses once goes up on the mountain, he talks to the pillar of fire, the burning bush. God appeared to Moses as fire. So fire is always been synonymous with the life bringer. The sun itself was the god of light, the life bringer, because sun brings life to us. Without this sun, we're all dead. We cannot exist on this planet without the heat and radiation from Sol, the sun that's here. So the religions have all incorporated that because the life bringer has always been that light, that fire. Okay, so that is why the prayers, that's why we say these things, because that's within us. And people will tell you that expand the fire within, find that fire within yourself. All of those comments and all of those sayings come from the return to the creator of the universe through that fire, because it is the lighting of the fire. It is moving up. And the only way that you can do that is to burn yourself and then rise as smoke or ash. That's why we say from ashes to ashes, dust to dust, to return to the world, right? That is through fire. Fire cleanses, and it's the death and resurrection. That's probably way too much more than you needed or more than you wanted, right? Sorry about that if I went on too far, if it was too much. But that's literally what that means. You can look that up in history. And literally we say light now because we have incandescent bulbs, right? But those are still fire. They're still that way. But so before that it was candlelight, it was fire. It was always fire until 100 years ago. 100 years ago we stopped having actual fire. But if you go touch a light bulb, you burn yourself because it's on fire inside there. That filament is glowing, right? If we build, yeah, ask your spiritual questions, please. If we build monuments or buildings, do they affect on other spiritual dimensions? Well, yes, they affect us, definitely on that, and the shape, size, and shape, specifically shape and resonance, harmonic resonance of buildings like the pyramids and things like that, resonate in a way that it changes the frequency of the earth itself. So yes, it does vibrate and will then reverb out beyond this reality into other realities as well. That's why those this, remember TikTok, this is all entertainment purposes only. Everything that we're saying, I should have put the sign up. I'm going to do that on my podcast from now on, have a sign up on the screen that says all information on here is given for entertainment purposes only. So that way I can claim to TikTok, it's on the sign, it's above my head constantly. So I didn't offend anybody because everything I said was fake and was made up, make believe. So literally, then I lost my train. What was I? Oh, the shape of buildings. So literally, those powers that should not be, that's why they put us in boxes. I talked about this just the other day on my podcast, right? That's why they build square buildings for all of us. They don't even want us in huts anymore because huts had domes and stuff like that. They can't have that. You got to be in square buildings because that's the lowest vibration for a structure is the square. That's why everything's a square that you live in, right? So that's why they think about this, and people go, oh, "That's not a thing," and I go, "Okay, tell me one government house in any country that is not built inside of a dome, where the government conducts its business is not in square buildings." Even the Pentagon in the United States of America is called the Pentagon because it is in the shape of a pentagon. Okay? So it's a sacred geometry, right? Even though the rooms might be square inside there, the building itself is in the shape of a sacred geometry. There's a reason for that. Look at all the places where the governments run their business. They all live and work in big domes. And the people who are rich, where do they live? Big houses with big domes, big vaulted ceilings that are not square. Okay. But everybody else is in square. Why is that? Vibration. So when we build monuments and we build buildings, if we're building them specifically, to house things, and you look and they use those pillars back in the day. Let's go back in all, Greek, Roman, Chinese, Japanese. Let's go even the Vikings. Let's go back to all that. The Phoenicians, the everybody. You look at their societies, and they had these buildings that had different structures, and they all had columns. What did those columns represent? Right? Because there was a time when they got away from, they had to have that because they were building things a certain way, and now we're building things. No, they made everything square on purpose. They lowered the vibration. Okay? They lowered the vibration and got rid of those columns. You should look that stuff up. I wonder why I was always attracted to off-shaped buildings. Yes, that's for that reason. Right? This is so interesting to me, Red Rock says. I'm an architect, and I wanted to be more curious of what I was designing, right? Yes, I mean you can design the structures to fit, and then even Art Deco was different, right? So that they give you this. It's like when I'm writing a book. I've written 4 books, and when I'm writing a book and I submit it, they want to change the wording because there's certain wording they want you to use with a certain cadence in a book when it's being read so that people can read it in a way that they want it to be read. Okay, it's just like if you look at the old Bibles. I'm a minister and I'm a theologian. You look at these old tomes, they were written in a different way. The cadence was different in the other languages, and the cadence was different, in the wording that they used, the way they spoke was different compared to now. And it's not just because of language, because we translated the words from, like, say, Sanskrit into English, but then the wording, the cadence was different. And then when they put it into modern English, this language is the lowest vibrational language on the earth. This one that I'm speaking to you right now, the current English that I'm speaking to. Now, people take that and influx it, like my wife's accent's different than mine because she's Australian, right? And if you're in America, you know that. If you're East Coast, West Coast, North, South, different states, different places have different accents, right? So there's variations of it. But these words, the way that they're trying to get us, they keep making our vocabulary smaller and smaller and smaller. They want us to be running around going, ugh, make it go, fix computer. They want us talking in very short, choppy sentences that don't have any spelling to them. Okay, so architecture is the same way. If you're making things and if you're making them completely with right angles, 90-degree angles, and they have you, if you let them, they'll put you into that box. That's why we have that saying of being put into a box, because it's square. Okay, low vibration. When somebody puts you into a box, they're putting you into a low vibrational pattern. That's why they ask you if you understand them. Do you stand under me? Do you see what that's saying? Do you understand? That means, do you stand under my control? Do you stand under my will? That's why it's said that way. Do you understand me? Do you understand? Understand me. And we say, well, that just means, do you get what I'm saying? Well, then why are they not saying, do you get me? Do you comprehend what I'm saying? What they're saying is, do you stand under me? Do you understand? Okay, so there's the wording of things is the same as what they're doing with resonation. Look at the harmonic resonance of C. They say it's the perfect resonance. It's nowhere near Om. Om is in a G, not in a C. Okay, the perfect resonance for this place is like a G major or a G minor. It's not C. Okay, it's a half or a full octave away from C down. But they made everybody tune all their instruments to C. Why? They actually call that, if you Google it, you'll see that. They call that the tuning of the devil. Okay, so it's the lowest vibration on the scale, and they say it's the perfect one. It's not. Anyone who knows anything about music and theory, they start playing in the G keys, G flat, G major, G minor, G flat. Those tones resonate with people. If you go back in time and listen to classical music, you hear them do things more, but they do it in everything. Those rock stars would do it in A and B and things like that. But what you'll see is the ones that are big, that are really popular, that resonate with people, are done in G, not in C. Okay, it's rare to see classical music written in C because they didn't do it back then. It wasn't required. It wasn't until 1948 when they changed that. Okay, in 1948, they changed that to be, for the same reason that Constantine decided to change the Bible. We need things to be universal, low vibration, universal. Okay, so architecture, they're probably teaching you, if you're an architect, they're probably teaching you to do that because all those structures hold up better. You know as well as I do, they don't. The aqueducts made by the Romans are still standing to this day. The pyramids made by the Egyptians are still standing this day. The pyramids may not be a good example because they are in fact square blocks stacked on one another, and it is actually a ziggurat that they just put stuff on. So that might not be, you're an architect, you know what I'm talking about. That might not be the best example, right? So I wonder why I was always attracted to off-shade buildings, right? Okay, so this is so interesting. Oh, okay, I thought there was something else that I was missing there. What were you saying, Brooke? I thought I was missing something there. I apologize for that. Brooke was.
Different pyramids have pyramid shape has that.
Well, it does have a different resonation, but I'm saying the structure of it is. It's a ziggurat. Yeah. They're ziggurats, but the structure is still a step. It's a step. So that's even so. 100%, my wife's right. The resignation, the harmonic resonance of pyramids is completely different than square buildings, even though it is blocks that are square. Those of you who are architects, you understand that. But it's a ziggurat. Okay, so it's a step, and then they filled in the edges so that it became smooth. And right now you can see that on the cap, just below the capstone, which is missing. You can see that it was smooth there, and it used to have, that was actually the first coat. There was another coat on the outside that was completely a white color, so it reflected the sunlight. So imagine, if you will, that pyramid, as big as it is. If you've ever seen it, I've never been there to see it in real life, but it's huge. I use it for my logo for my podcast, right? Because it's identical to the Orion's belt. It's supposed to be doing that, not because the pyramid itself points that, but because the entire complex is mirroring the Orion's belt, because that happened 7 times around this planet, by the way, one of which is in China, one of which is in America, one of which is there, one is Teotihuacan, around the world. Okay, so there's a reason for that. If you watch my podcast, the MP4 version of my podcast, you'll see sacred geometry on the intro music in that 1 minute and 30 seconds. You'll see sacred geometry, and you'll see the correlation between, say, Teotihuacan, that pyramidal complex, and a motherboard for a computer. And you'll see that there were also other correlations between Orion, Teotihuacan, pyramidal complexes from around the world. And I have that in there during that the visuals. And you also, I mentioned that the other day when I was live on my TikTok channel, that in there is an image of a brain cell, radial image picture of one brain cell next to a radial image, one picture of the universe, and they are identical. The universe has more ganglia, so there's more neural pathways, but it's identical. It's just more complex. Okay, so there's something to think about out there in the world if you guys are listening to this broadcast. If you're brand new here, my name is Leonard O'Neill, and I wrote this book right there. The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways. You can see it on my shirt. The Reality About Reality, Returning to the Old Ways, talking about that very subject, talking about that information. And we are teaching you that information and other information, my wife and I, Merlin and Maeve at gmail.com. Merlin and Maeve, this channel, you can see the logo right there. Merlin and Maeve. You can find that logo and find that name on all platforms. We have a website that's not up yet. It's under construction. And we are teaching you guys courses and classes to help you expand your consciousness, to wake you up one mind at a time, to help you to unlock whatever abilities you want, unlock yourself, gain access to your higher self, your Akashic record. Look for us in the future. you will see us having courses. The one that we have currently that we're working on right now is the Defense Against the Dark Arts. That's the first course in that platform. It's a 2-day course. There will be a second one that will be coming out after that in January. For those people, it'll be an advanced course for the Defense Against the Dark Arts, teach you how to identify and do something about cleansing yourself, protecting yourself, reflecting that information, that energy, and making sure, sorry, train going by, making sure that you are protecting yourself, your family, your vehicles, your home, cleaning that stuff. We're going to teach you those things. There's going to be other courses that are going to go beyond that to teach you. We're going to teach you all kinds of information that you guys need. We're also Reiki master teachers, and we will be doing Reiki. If you guys want Reiki, Reiki healing now, you can contact us at merlinandmaeve@gmail.com or at one of our platforms, Merlin and Maeve, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And we have a price point for that. We do distance healing. We can do that any time of the day or night. All you have to do is contact us and let us know. And then we're going to be teaching other courses. Okay, so I've been live for now almost 2 hours. So I'm going to call it for the night. This was the very first live of Merlin and Maeve on TikTok with our platform. If you haven't already, click on there, like us, hit hearts, follow us, join the team, right? Join the team, hit that button, champions, and make sure you hit that button so that you know when we go live. Find me, Leonard O'Neill, on TikTok as well. Follow me. If you don't know where that is, message us on the TikTok platform or wherever you're seeing this, because it'll be on one of our platforms. And then you can find me from the bios that are there. I don't know if I have them linking on this one, but I'll send it to you. And then you can follow me there. My podcast is called Orion Rising. I don't have an app to show you the site. It's Orion, Orin, Orion, Orion, like the Orion constellation in the sky. The logo for that is the cover of my book. It is literally the Giza Plateau, the 3 pyramids in Egypt, on a night scene in the night, in the dark. In the night sky above it is the constellation of Orion with Orion's belt, the 3 stars of Orion's belt, directly above the pyramids, mirroring those 3 pyramids at the Giza Plateau in Egypt. Has my name on there. Above it, it says Orion Rising. Has my name on that. That is my podcast. And I have 537, 38 episodes available for you to listen to from the last 8 years on MP3 file. If you want to watch the MP4 file, you'll get the last 3 years worth on YouTube under my name, because there was a Orion Rising channel there that got deplatformed when Google got mad at me and decided that they needed to cancel over 500 episodes of my show, or you would have 1,000 episodes of Orion Rising to listen to. But it's not out there, so you only have 537 or 538 episodes to listen to. But you're lucky because they're about 3 hours long each, maybe longer. Okay, but you can still see the MP4 broadcast on YouTube. Facebook has now deleted all of them. They did have all 1,000 of them until May, and then they started deleting them, and now they delete them after about a week. And so the only place that I have them is on the MP3 broadcast that goes back further than any other. Otherwise, YouTube goes back 3 years, and that's it, right? But I go live every week, and I talk way too much. And I talk way too long because you guys usually ask me all kinds of questions. When I'm on TikTok, there's so many questions. I can't answer them all, but I try to as fast as I can. I love you guys. This is the first time we went live on Merlin and Maeve, our platform for my wife and I's company. Brooke's out there. I can hear her now. I think she's out there making freaking jewelry as we're speaking. I don't know what she's doing, but it sounds like it. All right. I love you guys. If you got here late, smash that heart, champions, and hit that like button, hit the follow button, join the team, and you guys will get great content. And remember, if you join one of our courses, you get 5% off of any of the other courses. And we do have giveaways. You guys just missed a $90 voucher giveaway. We had a giveaway that we did last month, and we'll probably do another one coming up in December. And if not, it'll definitely be in January. We did a giveaway where we literally, people entered into the contest. That's all you had to do was enter into the contest. And when you did enter the contest, you just had to go through the steps. We had you like something. We had you comment on it. We had you share it out. And then when you did that, you got your name entered into the contest, and we put you into a thing and put it on a wheel, and it spun, and it picked somebody out of the that was in the contest, and they won $90 free to do anything they wanted with it with any one of our products. And the woman who won the $90 wanted to get a reading done, so we actually did a reading, and we gave her we're starting to do just a 1 hour read, and it turned into, I think, 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours, and she's still asking questions about it afterwards to clarify things. And we talked, and it wasn't just me, it was myself and my wife. We both sat there and helped her with that, and worked with her, and my wife still works with her because she knows her. I guess that she visits her store or works with her, or somehow she knows her. And she was the one that won, because she was one of the people that entered. So she got $90 off of anything she wanted. She could have split it up through a bunch of stuff, but she said, I want a psychic reading. And that's what we did. We sat down. She came over here because she happened to be in New South Wales. So she came over here, and we actually did a reading for her. So you guys could have won that. You don't have to be in proximity to do it. And whatever it is, even if it's a read, you guys know if it's a card read or a read or anything like that, we can do it from a distance. We can do it in a Zoom call. It doesn't matter. We can do it in a call on Messenger for that matter, right? So look forward to that, because we give away prizes to you guys that is free stuff. And we're doing that a lot. We love doing promotions. We love having that fun, because you guys can participate, and all you got to do is like something, share something, and make a comment on something. Your name goes in the thing, and we go live. We did it live. You can see it. It's still up on our platforms. We go live, and then whether you attend or not doesn't matter. And the name spins. We hit a button, and the computer does it, and it ring, and then yay! And we pick a winner, and we contact them, and they get to do whatever they want. All right, we love you guys. Enjoy the night. I will be back live on my TikTok. We'll probably be back on Merlin and Maeve to promote some more stuff. But go over there. Go to our thing. Take a look at that. Contact us here if you want. And my wife just turned the light on because it's getting dark here. It's time for me to get off the camera. So she might have something that she wants to say before we go. Love you guys. Love you guys. Have a great night. Okay, we'll see you guys.
Thank you so much for supporting us and spread the word about Merlin and Maeve. And